Welcome to the Sports Cypher, brought to you by Gas Sports Network. I am your host, Scruff Lion, reporting live from the Lion's Den, ready to jump in some of the hottest sports topics right now, providing you with that daily dope of that sports. So, just want to check in and talk to everybody. And most importantly, want to talk about what's going on right now. A lot of good stuff going on across sports in general. NBA season is officially midway through. If your team is in the hunt right now, well, you got a good chance you'll probably still be in the hunt when times are finished, but we'll see how things lay out. So far, as we progress into the NBA season, the Denver Nuggets, hot ticket in the NBA, one of the hottest teams in the NBA, looking like a young team that's on the rise. Very, very big loss last night to the Golden State Warriors. Golden State showing that, yes, they still are the class of the NBA, the cream of the crop, if you will. But more so than anything, man, I just want to talk about what's on my mind for today. So I was just, analyzing the NFL matchups for this upcoming weekend with the championship games on the way. And I realized something very telling about the teams that did make it this far. They all have pretty much one thing in common. Well, two, rather, I should say. Look at the four teams that are left in the NFL. You got the Patriots, you got the Chiefs, you got the Saints, and you got the Rams. You got Sean Payton, you got Sean McVay, you got Bill Belichick, and you got Andy Reid. Four of the best coaches in the NFL. What you also have is Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, potentially the league MVP. You got Drew Brees, another MVP candidate, and then you got Jared Goff, one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So it got me thinking. The true path to success in the NFL, it's pretty clear to see that quarterback and coach, that combination, and obviously you got to put the front office in there as well. But if you have a good quarterback combination to go with a good coach, then chances are you'll probably be a successful team in the NFL. Another good example, look at Philadelphia. Obviously Philadelphia, with the help of Nick Foles, has been able to, get through some tough injuries with their starter, Carson Wentz, who they're going to be moving forward with for the future, as they've announced. But Doug Peterson proved himself to be one of the better coaches in the NFL, especially most aggressive play callers, and he proved last season that he's a very good coach. He is an extremely good coach. Sometimes he may get in his own way with the play calling with Carson Wentz, but that's a whole other story. But that's a team that is definitely on the rise. And then you look around the other teams that made it pretty far. Look at the Colts. The Colts are a team that I think are going to be really good for a while now. And they're really just getting started. Just because if you look at their roster, you can see that their roster is not like, anything to really write home about. They're not like a dominant roster full of young talent, which gives me a lot of hope for their team. AFC South, with the Jaguars not really having a good offense or quarterback at all, they're kind of wasting that defense away, and it was up for the taking, and the Colts went and took it. Not to be a homer, but I love the coaching hire in Indiana, and I really think that they have the right coach over there with Frank Wright, especially considering the quarterback situation. Andrew Luck was looking like, we weren't really sure if he was ever really going to play again or play like the Andrew Luck that we thought he would be. But not only has he played well, he's played excellent. And he's played himself into being one of those guys that you have to watch for, just like the Indianapolis Colts of old with Peyton Manning putting up big numbers over there. Andrew Luck is going to be a problem in this league, and he's going to be a problem for a very, very long time. And then it just got me thinking about other teams that I guess don't have that situation. Look at the New York Giants. They don't have a good quarterback. Sorry, Eli, but you're not a good quarterback anymore. And the question that still remains is what's going on with that coach. And you look at Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Obviously, they have a good quarterback. Now, they're just trying to figure out that other piece with the coach. Look at what teams are trying to do around the NFL. Look at the Browns. You got Baker Mayfield. We can safe to say that he's the future of that franchise at the quarterback position. What they were missing? The head coach. Hugh Jackson clearly wasn't the answer. Now you'll go and you hire Freddie Kitchens, who I like to hire. Obviously, they saw something in the guy, and they saw something in him to hire him over the other candidates they had available, over even Greg Williams, who was a former head coach in the NFL, big-time name. But they went with the unpopular choice, and he said, I know I'm the unpopular choice, but I'm the right guy for the job. So, we'll see what happens over there. So many examples, man. Look at the Denver Broncos. Ever since Peyton Manning left over there at quarterback, and they had, I believe, John Fox was their coach at the time, quarterback situation has been in limbo. Stability. They haven't been a good team since they've had a stable quarterback. Also, got to look at the head coaching situation. Vance Joseph obviously wasn't the answer. They went in a different direction. Look at the New York Jets. They think they have the answer with Sam Darnold, but they didn't have the right coach. Now they're hoping they have the right coach now with Adam Gase. Time will tell, I should say, and that remains to be seen. But we don't know. Look at Pittsburgh right now. Controversy at quarterback, not really, but more so just controversy in the locker room. Tough situations. But Pittsburgh is a proof of longevity, that if you have a good quarterback and a good head coach, you'll probably be pretty successful in the NFL. A lot of good teams in the NFL these days, a lot of depleted teams. Phillip Rivers has always been a pretty good quarterback, and the Chargers have always been a pretty good team. But, yeah, in order to win in the NFL, you got to have good coaching and good quarterback play, which brings me into this weekend's matchups. As I dissect these matchups, at this point in the week, I have no idea. I really do. I have no idea who I think is going to win or who I like in most of the games out of the two. I definitely don't know what's going on in the NFC. It's a toss-up for me. The Saints didn't exactly play their best game against the Eagles. Credit to the Eagles' defense for playing pretty solid defense despite some of the criticisms of Jim Schwartz. They played pretty solid defense, holding the Saints to only 20 points. However, Rams, they look pretty good actually on all sides of the ball. And the big talk going into the game was that the Rams' running defense was going to be a major problem for them. And sure enough, it wasn't. It was actually the Cowboys' run defense that got shredded by two running backs, one of which was on the unemployment line not that long ago, and C.J. Anderson. But C.J. Anderson in there looking like he had about, a cheesesteak a day when he was on retirement, looking like he had, well, one thing you can say is he definitely looked like he was a little bigger than he usually was out there playing. But the one thing you could also say is, man, that guy, he has some fresh legs running out there. And he had fresh legs because Todd Gurley's one of the best backs in the league, but with the amount of carries that he's had this season, you could tell he's getting a little worn down. And C.J. Anderson, despite the size of the guy, he was out there with fresh legs looking pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. But, yeah, man, it just really had me thinking all together about these matchups and who I like. On the AFC side, I can say with, I don't want to say certainty, but I'm starting to lean towards the Chiefs. Now, on a betting line, we'll see what the spread ends up being. It's right around 3 points as it stands right now with the Chiefs being favored. But I'm kind of leaning towards the Chiefs, and I'll tell you why. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. We know about the postseason success with them, and everyone's been spitting this stat out. The big stat. The Patriots have only advanced to the Super Bowl when they've had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. This game is in Arrowhead Stadium, first AFC Championship game in Arrowhead, and, that is a slight advantage for the Chiefs. Now, if you remember, during the regular season, they had a matchup. Chiefs ended up losing that game by a very small margin. Brady did what Brady does, got things through. But there are definitely a few changes for this Patriots team in terms of weapons. Gronkowski, clearly a shell of himself from what he was. He had one catch this past weekend. In the first matchup, he had just under 100 yards, and he was a big-time performer for them. Josh Gordon, even at that time, had a pretty solid game, and he's obviously no longer with the team. So it just got me wondering about the Patriots, man. I like the Chiefs in the close game. I like what I saw from Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady and the offense looked great, but I kind of like the Chiefs just because I think that Mahomes has something special. Now everyone's going to talk about Andy Reid and his inability to get it done in the postseason. However, I don't think Andy Reid is necessarily I don't think he's necessarily a bad postseason manager, but I think that Patrick Mahomes is clutch enough to get everything done for them that they need to get done, and overcome the liability that comes with a coach like Andy Reid, who is traditionally not exactly ice water, Tom Brady-esque handle situations the way they need to be handled. As a lot of Eagles fans know, he's known for poor clock management. But the kid Mahomes seems to have a lot of poise, and I like that. And obviously, it's a combination between the two. I think personally, in terms of quarterback-coach combinations in this postseason, and we have some great ones, I would say that my number one quarterback-coach combination would be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Second, I'd probably give it to Brady and Belichick just based on the pure longevity of their success. And then I'd probably go with Breeze and Sean Payton. But with Sean McVay and Jared Goff coming not behind, with Sean McVay actually could be potentially the best coach of the bunch when it's all said and done, based on how he's done early. But yeah, I like the Chiefs. And as I've just, I guess, talked it out with the people of my good listeners here on the podcast, I talked it out a little bit. And I guess based on this, philosophy that I'm going with here of success in the NFL, you would think the pick would be the Saints, right? Saints are at home. I'll take that as a factor. The Rams looked good, but they didn't look like excellent. And neither did the Saints. But I gotta go with the experience. Saints potent running attack. I think they'll pick back up. They kind of got held in check this past weekend, but I like the Saints. I say that tentatively. I like the Saints. I'm leaning towards the Saints. Would I put money on them? I probably will. But I like the Saints. I like Sean Payton, and I like Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees is going to do big things in this matchup. I think this is going to be a shootout, a little bit different than the game you saw this past weekend against Philadelphia. But I like Drew Brees. I like the Saints. And I like Patrick Mahomes. I like that matchup. I like it a lot. But you got to say that the Rams probably have a little bit better of a defense, although they give up points like nobody's business. And I know the world would love to see the rematch of the Rams and the Chiefs, but don't lock that in yet, just guys. Don't lock it in, guys. I might renege on that one. I definitely like the Chiefs out in the AFC. Definitely like the Chiefs. While I got you guys on, I'm gonna pivot a little bit. I was happy to see Jimmy Butler and the Sixers just straight out hand it to the Timberwolves. Obviously, we know about the situation from earlier in the earlier, I guess, off season, trending into the beginning of the season with Jimmy Butler and the, I guess you can say, the climate of what's going on over there. What was going over there in Minnesota. Jimmy Butler upset with the team, calling them soft, talking about their work ethic, and then Jimmy Butler coming into practice, basically, as the story goes, taking the third stringers and beating the starters in a 5-on-5, and then out there yelling, "You guys need me." right before he got traded across the country to the Sixers. Sixers obviously very happy about that. They've been doing very well. They're on pace to be right around where they were last year in terms of record, if not better. Keep in mind, last season they had to win the final, I don't know, it was like 15-plus games to get to that mark. So I think this season, if they could go on a similar run, they'll be in a really good situation, probably be one of the top 3 seeds in the East. But, yeah, it's good to see that, man. Good to see that. Good to see Philly fans, standing ovation, you know, good reception for Robert Covington, good reception for Dario. But big win for the Sixers, man. I was real happy to see that. Happy for Jimmy Butler to see that in that situation, especially with recent stories coming about him being a problem player. And honestly, I want to talk about that a little bit more. I want to address that a little bit more. Jimmy Butler is a winner. What Jimmy Butler also is outspoken, and he's not the kind of guy that's going to hold his tongue when he feels like what he is saying is true. And to be honest, as a person, I can understand that. Not only because I can understand that, I can respect that, and I probably feel the same way in most situations. And I understand also, being that way, that sometimes that tends to rub people the wrong way to a certain degree. And, you know, that comes with the territory. Now, amongst that, you may end up getting a bad rep. I'll be honest with you. In my personal life, I've gotten a bad rep. Before I became a on-air personality for good-ass sports, I bounced around with jobs because, shit, sometimes people that were more qualified or were supposed to be the leaders don't know what the fuck they're doing. And you know this, man. It's true. In several different positions. And you wonder, how did this person get to this position? Man, and you're sitting there and you're trying to say, yo, this is just not working. And that's exactly what Jimmy Butler did in the situation. Brett Brown's a good guy. He's obviously didn't take it the wrong way. With the wrong coach, they'll take it the wrong way, and they'll ship your ass out of town. And that's pretty much not even the coaching situation, but the front office don't like that either. And, you know, a lot of organizations tend to stay away from people like that. And it's understandable. You know, before I found my true calling, I bounced around quite a bit. But it's just because, hey, man, if I see something's not working, I'm going to speak on it because I want everyone to succeed. And that's how Jimmy Butler is, too. So I don't think it's a toxic thing. I think it's a thing that's great to have on your team, but it needs to be kept in check to a certain degree. But it just also needs to be understood. You know, take the situation and take it for what it's worth. And to be honest, Brett Brown's not exactly shown. Obviously, the first couple seasons, you have to just kind of just ignore those because of the tanking that was going on. But over the last couple seasons, when he's had a legitimate roster, he's made some pretty bonehead situations. How's your team goes on, especially in the playoffs? Celtics were going on big runs, no timeouts called. What are you doing, coach? X's and O's getting slammed. You know what I mean? And ultimately for the 76ers in the Eastern Conference and even in their own division, in the Atlantic Division, if you're going to advance, if you're going to be able to be a powerhouse in the East, which means winning the conference, the truth is you're going to have to go through the Boston Celtics to some degree. You're going to have to go through Brad Stevens. And the truth is, if you look at the Sixers versus the Celtics in most of their matchups, the Celtics can be off and on, and we all know it. They have a worse record than the 76ers. But when it comes head-to-head, Brad Stevens knows exactly what to do to throw off the 76ers game plan. And Brett Brown does not know what to do. He has made zero adjustments, and we've seen several repeats of the same exact thing that we saw in the playoffs. We saw it on opening night. We saw it on Christmas. Merry Christmas, 76ers fans. Your fucking coach can't coach. Or he doesn't make enough adjustments. The thing I love about Brett Brown is his attitude, the way he builds the team, the way he's positive. I love it. I love that about him. That's why he was the perfect coach for us to get to progressing this young player and this young core and building a team. He's focused on team building, he said. And he said that multiple times, and he's done an excellent job at it. That's why he was so good at San Antonio with player development. That's why the 76ers hired him in this rebuilding process. Ultimately, if the Sixers want to take the next level, if they want to become a championship contender, they're going to have to play chess with the big boys. The coaches have to be more prepared. You're going to have to go against the likes of the Steve Kerrs and the Greg Popoviches and, Brad Stevens and, all the good coaches. Obviously, just like the NFL, coaching matters. Ultimately, if the Sixers want to take the next level as a team, either A, they're going to have to fire Brett Brown and find another coach that's going to be able to take them to the next level, or B, Brett Brown is going to have to making some adjustments. In-game adjustments, which he has shown pretty much no capability of doing so far. But give him time. To be honest, I think Brett Brown may be done in Philadelphia after the season, depending on how the season shakes out. Because in my opinion, the 76ers have been winning despite whatever. They've been winning despite Brett Brown's deficiencies as an in-game coach and X's and O's and, game manager. But, like I said, we'll see. Time will tell. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're not already following us, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, at GoodAssSports. And always check out www.goodassports.com for all the latest sports content. You'll see plenty of good stuff on there, articles, interviews, everything that you need to listen to, podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. Stay tuned. We got some good stuff coming your way. As always, Scruff Lion signing out. We are Sports for the Culture.